To self care or not to self care? That is the question. I've been on the fence about self care expenses for a long time. I'm a strong believer in delayed gratification, but from time to time, I find it necessary and beneficial to treat myself to some pleasantries, if you will, along the way. But I also remind myself that discipline is the key to being able to do these type of things even on a bigger scale later on in the future. So, a few days ago, I did a few small self-care monetary things that helped me ease the foot off my accelerator towards my goal. Just a few little simple pleasantries that I thought that I kind of wanted to partake in. And in this video on these spreadsheets, I'm going to show you how I fit them in my money management moves even though they weren't planned. So, let's go. All right. So, here I got my workbook here with three different windows open. My money management moves. This is one big workbook file with three different windows open. Over here we got the money, in the middle the management, and over here the moves. All right, so the first thing that I do all the time is I enter in my bank balance by looking at my online banking account. And in this particular case, it is this $385 and I mean no $3,185.84. All right, I'm gonna clear this out here because I did this a little bit earlier just to make sure everything went smoothly. So let me put all of these zeros in here and show you. I'm gonna walk you through how, first of all, I balance the checkbook, I make some moves, and then I gotta tackle this situation right here. This is the major situation with the purchases I made for the self care. This over here on this move, this negative $367.04. All right, that represents these things that I have over here on the moves that that I like partook in as far as kind of just taking care and treating myself to a few things. But without further ado, let's get it going. So I got a bank balance of 3185.84. That leaves a difference, an unbalanced difference of um 2180.93. We got to get this. I have to get this to zero to start figuring out what I'm gonna do with these self care expenses. All right, so let me start entering in these amounts. The first transaction amount that came out of my bank account was $10.80. As I enter the amounts over here, you're gonna see this balance change, and hopefully it gets to zero. I'm pretty sure it will. All right, the next one is this 56.26. The next one is a positive balance going into my bank account for 3185.84, and I'll explain that amount later because that amount is a lot different than what it normally is. All right, I'm gonna skip a couple of steps. I'm gonna skip a couple of lines over here on my money. This is my money spreadsheet, aka my checkbook. This is where money comes in and goes out. This is how I manage the money here in the middle, and this is how I move it around. I also move it around here in the middle, but not too much because this is what I do at the beginning of every month to kind of get my plan going. And like I said, these self care expenses were not in my plan, so now I got to figure out how to get them properly accounted for. Moving right along, shall we? All righty then. The next one is $200.29. After that is $1,242. And then after that is what is it? What is it? $50 and 81 cents. Enter. All right. So I've entered all of that, and that leaves a balance, a overall balance of $555.25 that I'm out of balance. Not a balance, but I'm out of balance right there. So I'm gonna just check my numbers real quick to make sure I didn't miss anything, because I don't want to be in a situation where um I'm missing some transactions. So I'm I'm looking at my online banking account right now on a separate screen, and I'm confirming that, yeah, this is the right balance amount. Okay. Now let me confirm these entries that I've made for purchases and the income. So I got the 1080, the 5626, the 229 is there, the 1242 deduction is there, the $50.81 deduction is there. So it looks like everything is in. um, oh, here we go. This is different right here. This is supposed to be 3684.83. That's the income. All right, so now that I've entered that, I can look over here on my money moves spreadsheet, and I see I have a difference of $56.26. That amount represents this amount right here, this Vivian security payment. I'm gonna go ahead and highlight that yellow, and I'm gonna click it over to the side. And the reason why it I'm off that amount is because that particular payment is not posted. It's not part of my bank balance. It is only a approval. You know how some banks, they'll, or some merchants I should say, they take approvals, and instead of actually charging your bank account or your credit card or whatever you're using to make the payment, they will just get an approval, and it doesn't actually come out of your bank statement. So I recognize that, and I'm going to enter that amount right here in this box that I call unposted bank entries. So I'm putting in 56.26, and that causes me to have an overall balance of zero. I mean, an overall balance of zero, which really means that I balance my checkbook, so to speak, or my money. I balance my money. My online bank statement matches the money that I got in my pocket, so to speak. And this spreadsheet represents the money that, quote unquote, I got in my pocket. All right, so I'm gonna clear out these little numbers here that I was using to kind of get things flowing real good, and I'm gonna go ahead and start putting in some information here to make me understand what's happening, so I can get to this whole situation about these self-care expenses that I didn't have planned. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna take I'm gonna put in a little simple formula right here. I'm gonna put in plus the income 3684.83 minus what I was expecting to get in income, and that comes here in the middle. Right here in the middle, this is what I was expecting. This $1,750, but I didn't get that. I got 3684.83. So I'm gonna say minus 1,750, which is what I was expecting, and that leaves me with an overage of 1934.83. So that's an overage. And usually when I get overages, I call them budget overages, like I did last week. So I'm gonna copy this formatting right here from last week, and I'm gonna pop it down right here, so that, and then I'm also gonna copy this little note that I made here. Let's see, copy, and I'm gonna paste it right here saying that, okay, it's a budget overage, or a management. I should call it a management over. It's not so much budget. I know that a lot of people don't like the word budget. It's kind of almost a curse word in today's time. So I'm gonna call it a management over. Money management overage. MGMGMT. I'm gonna call it a management overage. This is how I manage my money. All right. So this is a management overage. And here I have a description of some things from last week. So I'm going to go ahead and clear that out. And I'm going to hold on to see what I'm going to do with the overage. So now I got a management overage, and I'm going to just say, put some question marks right there and kind of figure it out a little bit later after I get this whole self care deal squared away to find out. It might some of it might go to self care. I don't know. Let's see. All right. So now that I got that in and that I am, everything's balanced. All right. The money is matching and all of that. The next thing I want to do is go ahead and put in these labels to make sure everything is everything. So this $200.29, that was a payment that I made to the auto fund. So I'm gonna copy this payment from last time and just pop it here so I don't have to re-type it in. And then this one was what is that? Let me see. I can't see. Okay, this was an actual payment. That was an auto fund AUTOFUNDPYMT directly. That was also, so one was a principal payment to the auto fund and one was a direct payment to the auto fund, and I'll explain that later. But it's going to the same expense category. And what I mean by expense category, when I look over here in moves, over here in the middle, these are the expense categories, and you also see them in the management spreadsheet. So in the management and the move spreadsheet, I have this fund right here called auto. It's not really so much a loan; it's a fund. And so let me go ahead and change that to fund, y'all. ND, bam. All right, good. So it's usually about $514, but sometimes I throw a little bit extra to there, and that kind of covers a lot of the fund, like the auto funds, like the funds that I have to like either get a new form of auto transportation, so to speak, a new whip, a new fund, a new car, or some maybe some accessories, or maybe some repairs, whatever it may be. That's how I load that fund up. All right, moving right along. All right, so that's what was this $50.81? What was that? 5081. I forgot what that was. Let me open up my online banking account again. I shouldn't have closed it. Go back in and open it up here on the separate screen so I can see what that 5081 was. So everything can be good and accurate. Let me go in real quick, and so that the balance is still the same, and that 5081 was, oh, that was electricity. So I'm gonna put in the company name, Intergy, and then that's going to the electricity expense. Well, that came out, or that came out of, but that's how I'm going to post it. Electricity. All right, cool. All right. So the next thing, now that I got everything in and we're all balanced, everything's balanced like it's supposed to be. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and mark this that this is the last time I actually balanced, so that way I can kind of find out if I ever go back in. It's like, hey, where did I end last time? I kind of know, and I usually put that thick line, like I got one right here too. It's actually a double line right there. I must have messed up, but I'm gonna put that thick line. So that's where I was last time, and this is the new stuff right here. All right. All right. So moving right along. Now what I want to do is, since I got some income in, I'm gonna go ahead and account for it, and I'm gonna do that by going to um, this management screen in the middle over here. I'm gonna go over there to this management screen here in the middle, right here, and I'm gonna start entering where I want that. Initially, it was 1750 that I was supposed to get, but like I said, I got 3684. So I'm gonna start entering in these. This is money coming in. This is the income. All right. So I'm gonna start entering in these amounts for this particular week. Week 1, week 2. I'm on week 3. So I'm gonna take these amounts in the middle, and I'm gonna start entering them in to my moves as income. All right. So $40 is gonna go to house needs. So, all right. So I got house needs right there. I'm gonna go up here in the formula drop bar and add $40 plus 40. Enter. That one's entered. All right. So whenever I enter something, I usually just turn it gray. But in this particular case, I'm not gonna do it like I do it over here in the money spreadsheet. I'm gonna just do them all at the same time. All right. Well, actually, let me go ahead and do it one by one. So for the sake of me showing you how I get things done. So groceries, I'm gonna add 140 to the grocery expense. All right, so I'm adding money. So I'm gonna push F2 this time because the formula bars up here is way too it's too full right there for you to see what's going on. So I'm gonna just push F2 on my keyboard, and it opens up all of these calculations that are up in the formula bar. And right here, I'm gonna put in this $140 that I planned. Of this 1750, 140 of it is going towards groceries. So plus 140 right there. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and change that one gray so you can see what's going on. The next one got the emergency and the contingency fund. I'm gonna go over here. This time I can put it in the formula bar because there's room. Plus 209, enter. So that's that 209 right there. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and shade that one out, indicating that I put it in, that I entered it. And then the auto fund, I'm gonna put in 1242. Here's the auto fund right here. It's already full up here, so it's all good. I can just enter it. I could just drop it down here, but I don't like to have, I like to have a little more space there so everything can be seen. So I'll just go ahead and go into the auto fund cell, push F2, and it brings me to all the calculations I made for the auto fund so far. And then what I'm gonna do is put plus 1242, enter. All right, that leaves me with that amount available to spend. Go over here, indicate, I'm gonna right click on my mouse and shade it in to indicate that I got that one in. The next one's gonna be for auto fuel. All right, I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna go up here since there's room, plus 17, enter. That one's done. Go over here and shade it in. The next one's gonna be 25 to auto needs. Where's auto needs? Right there. Got $70 already. I'm about to add another 25. Got that in there. That's done. I'm gonna go over here, shade it. That is done. Okay, go over here to on the go food right there. Add $34. All right, so here, look, on the go food, it was negative 24 already, but now I'm about to add some money to it to make it positive. So I'm gonna F2 on that one, and then plus, what was that? Plus 34. Yes, enter. All right, so I put that 34 in there. Okay, that's good to go. And then the last one is gonna be $43 towards the haircut and self care. So I go over there, haircut and self care, and even okay, so plus 43. All right. Now that only took me down to three. Now I'm 324 short. I was short more before. Let me go ahead and mark this one. Okay. Now, now we can get down to the nitty gritty. Almost. We're almost there. So after doing that, I'm just gonna confirm that all of these numbers are correct. All right, so I'm gonna go in over here and say, okay, did I put the 43 over here in self care? Yep, I did the 43. 34 went to on the go. Let me go to on the go food. Make sure I put it in the right place. Yeah, the 34 is there. F2, yep, is there. All right, 25 on the auto needs. Auto needs right there. That's 25. I can see it up there. The next one should be 17 over here on the fuel in the middle right there in the middle. I'm just trying to make sure that all of these amounts got to where they went. I'm just double checking. So $17 in auto fuel. Auto fuel, $17. Yeah, I can see it up there at the top in the formula bar. Okay, after that, I was supposed to put 1242 into the auto fund. I go over here to the auto fund. I'm gonna click F2, and I see that I put it in right there. That's fine. So I'm enter out of that one, and then after the auto fund, it was supposed to be to the emergency fund. Yep, I see it. I put it in. That's fine. After that was grocery, $140. 100 for groceries. Did I put that? Let me see. I'm gonna drop this down so I can see if I put it in there. Yeah, there's that 140. That's fine. The next one's going to be for house needs, and that's that 40. So all of these are put in. All right, so that's good. That's all shaded out. I'm gonna go ahead and shade this whole thing right here just to kind of help me on next week, so I'll know that this is now I'm working on this week. This is what I'm expecting to come in. All right, now that I got that, these amounts over here on my money that they need to be posted over here. They need to be deducted from my moves. My money needs to be deducted from the actual moves. So $10.80 is gonna come out of on the go food. I'm gonna go over here to on the go food, and then I'm gonna go up here into the formula bar, and I'm gonna say minus $10.80. Okay, so that's that. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and mark it red that I entered it already. And now the $56.26, I'm not going to enter that one because it did not actually post. It's just an approval. So I'm gonna skip that one. This income is already inside. It's reflected in the balance. The auto fund is going to be minus $200.29 out of auto fund. And since they're back to back, I'm going to do them at the same time. So here we go. Minus 200 minus 200.29 minus 242. Enter. I enter both of those. All right. That leaves the auto fund right there at that amount. Okay. All right. So both of those are entered. And then I'm going to go ahead and mark them that they're entered. And then lastly is $50.51 coming out of the electricity. So $51.50. 50 minus 50.81. Okay. Now that I've entered all of these in and everything is entered except for that one that's still pending because it's just a not an approval, but what did I say it was earlier? It's a not an approval, it's authorization. Yeah, they were just kind of authorizing to see if that payment was available. So it's gonna clear later. And speaking of clear, I'm gonna mark these X's except for that one. That everything in all of these categories have cleared. All right. So I want you to notice something. I have $1,934.83 left over from my income. And over here from my moves after making the additions and subtractions in this move spreadsheet, look what I have. 1,934.83 theoretically left over, right? And that means that what? Oh, I'm balanced. It's always good to be balanced. All right. So that lets me know that I've entered everything correctly and where it's supposed to be. All right. So moving right along. Now we get to this part with this self-care. I'm $324 short in self-care, okay? But I'm also short in my auto fund. I'm also short in entertainment and so on and so forth. So the first thing I'm going to do is look for some corrective actions. And so over here I have a this reconciliation, this corrective action kind of calculations here, I should call them. I'm going to slide it down here so it can be next to everything else that's current. Slide it all the way down to the bottom, right here, right about there. Okay. Now, what I normally do when I'm conducting my corrective actions, and in order to get a big picture of everything that's going on, so that I can ultimately tackle this self-care issue, as long as the other issues that I have for negative amounts here, is I go over here and I do the following. I create a simple formula by using simply two keys, the plus key and the enter key. So first of all, I'm going to calculate all the shorts that appear in my money moves. All right, so plus this short, plus this short, plus this short, and then I'm going to press enter. And over here in my money, it's going to create an amount, that negative 566.97. All right. That amount, again, it reflects all the shorts or the deficits, so to speak, the shorts. The shorts are indicated by the amounts with the negative numbers in front, with the negative sign in front of them. I think I missed it on the Go Food one. Yeah, I think I missed that one. So I'm going to add it. I can just simply add it up here in the formula bar because I think I might have missed that one. So I'm going to say plus this one also. We're going to see. And that's a good thing that happened, because now you can see that, okay, well, these are going to be the individual shorts that I'm going to list here. And I do this in order to make sure that it balances with the shorts that are indicated from the money move spreadsheet. It's a checks and balances thing just to make sure that everything is accurate. All right. So since grocery is not a short, I'm going to delete that one. And house needs, it's 29. It has a balance of 29 cents left to spend. So I'm going to delete that one. I only want to see the shorts. All right. So now The shorts this yellow box right here represents these amounts, but as you can see, the numbers are different. This is 568.17, and this is 442.41. So something's missing. So I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna say, okay, well, I got what is short. I have the auto fund. Nah, it's missing. See, so I'm gonna switch this one. I'm gonna switch one of these names to auto fund by I'm gonna just say AUTOFUND, enter, and then I'm gonna go into this cell right here and I'm gonna say plus. Plus means I want to reference a cell from somewhere else in this particular case. Plus this auto fund amount here in the money move spreadsheet. And I'm gonna push enter, and that brings it over. Okay. So now, since I did that, look what happened. The shorts that are referenced from the money move spreadsheet now are reflected in this corrective actions in my money corrective actions spreadsheet little calculations here. So that means that everything, the checks and balances are set. This yellow amount matches this yellow box amount, which represents all of these numbers right here. That's a formula just calculating all of these numbers. This red amount represents this red amount, which is the difference between these two amounts. This purple box number represents this purple box number, which is this number is just pulling over here from the money moves. Again, this is what I do just to make sure that I'm checking my balances, that everything is accurate, and I'm just double checking to make sure. That's what numbers are, 'cause you can be in a situation throughout the course of me doing all of this. I've learned just to how to do certain things that'll help me understand things better, and that's why I'm explaining them now. All right, so now there's another calculation I need to make. I'm gonna get rid of these amounts that don't reflect any deficits. All right, so the house needs, I don't have a deficit, so this is my next income column. What this means, that next income, that means that, hey, I got a deficit for something, for an expense, but the next income, let's see how much I'm getting it, so to determine if it is going to cover that expense. So for instance, haircut and self care have a deficit of $324.04, but the next income that I'm getting for this expense is is going to lower that deficit to negative 281. How do I know? Is because I created a little simple formula to account for plus that 324 amount, plus that the and what am I getting for haircut next? I'm getting, okay, nothing. So I had to update that one. All right. But it gives me a clear picture. And that's the same for this situation. Entertainment. I'm negative 117.17. So I'm going to say plus that negative, that the amount over there, plus the amount of that negative 117.17, plus a positive amount that I'm going to get for the emergency fund. And I'm actually not going to, no, not the emergency fund, for entertainment. Entertainment, where's entertainment? There it is. Entertainment, I'm also not getting any money. I have no money planned to get for entertainment. That's okay. It's okay. It's okay. We gonna get to it now. Okay. On the go food. Okay, on the go food. I'm currently short $1.20 in that expense. But let's see what I'm gonna get next time. Plus that negative 120, plus what am I getting for on the go food? $81. There we go. Now that's looking better. Okay. $81. That's good. So now I'm looking better with that situation. So that means I'm gonna have $79.80 next week when I get income. Theoretically, just theoretically speaking, I'm gonna have that amount left for on the go food. But I'm about to make some moves. That's why it's called Mike's Money Management Moves. I'm about to make some moves because we gotta take care of these deficiencies here. All right, so now we have the big picture. Now we know what's going on. Entertainment is not going to get covered next week. On the go food is going to get covered next week. Oh, well, let's look at this auto fund. All right. This auto fund is currently $125.76 short in the amount to cover for the expenses that have been generated from that particular expense. So, and that's also reflected here on the move spreadsheet. So let's see how much I'm getting for auto fund. I forgot to do that one. So plus this 125.76 to see how it goes over there. We can actually see it this time. I don't know why we couldn't see it in the other ones, but maybe because these numbers were too big. Anyway, plus that negative 125.76 plus we're gonna look in here in the middle and see what do we have planned for auto needs. How much is there any money going from to the auto fund? Auto fund $868 is planned to go to be added to the auto fund. So that 868 that I'm planning to get next week in my income, I'm planning to get an income of 1750. All right. And yeah, okay, it is what it is. Some people make more, some people make less. Everything can be adjusted to what you make, whether you make more or less, whether you have more expenses or less expenses. That's just what this stuff is all about because now we're looking at it and we're now that I'm looking at it and we looking at it together and we're kind of seeing what's going on. So don't let the numbers in any way affect your own personal situation. These are my numbers because these are the numbers I know. And again, these numbers may or may not be accurate. I could be, you know, changing the numbers just for entertainment, or explanation or tutorial purposes. Moving right along. All right. So, now that that's explained, it looks like I'm in a position where even though I got a negative deficit, a positive deficit, a positive deficit, and a negative deficit, I'm gonna come out positive. So that gives me some reassurance about this shortage that I have for the self care stuff that I did. All right. And then speaking of that self care stuff, let me kind of explain what I was doing. I went out to eat. I think this $20 is some dessert. Got some really nice dessert for $20 just for me. And I went and I had I think it was like a late lunch at one place, so that's at 47.70. This 41.90 I got a pedicure. Yeah, I got my nails on my feet clipped. I know that's too much information. I got my car detailed. It really just washed, but it was kind of a wash detail. They do a really good job for what they charge. Plus, I tipped them in cash. Then I got some cigars. These particular cigars I found actually at a place I normally don't go, and I was really I was really happy to find those. I'm gonna go back soon. Then I got some money, to do some tipping and some more money just to go out and about and have a good time, so to speak. So on and so forth. Those are all the self care things I did, and that resulted in me being $324.04 short in my self care. And so yeah, but at least I know what's going on with it now because I can go over here and I say, okay, at least now I know that despite the fact that I'm short, the auto fund right now, even though it's negative, let's address that right quick. I got 1934.83 extra from the income that I was expecting, right? So normally what I do with that extra is I apply it towards the auto fund. Okay, so I'm going to apply that 1934.83 to the auto fund, right? So I'm going to put it here, 19, take it out, 34.83. I'm taking it out and then I'm putting it back in. 1983 point no, it's 1934. 1934.83. All right. So now I took it. It was inside this amount, the income. I took it out and I'm putting it in. So I'm gonna just mark that as it posted because I'm gonna go over here and post it. I'm gonna add to plus 1934.83. Enter. All right. That brings me to zero down here on my money moves. All right. All right. Now that Now that has happened, I understand that I have coverage for this amount just in case um it's not covered, and which we determined that it was not going to be covered um next week for my self-care. But before I actually apply any of this money for the from the auto fund to self-care, I have to understand that I got contingency money, which is contingency just means that that's extra money that I I plan to use just in case something is not covered. Plus, I got these little stragglers. After my electricity bill was paid, I got 19 cents. My my house needs, after those expenses were deducted, I got 29 cents, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to take those little stragglers, and I'm going to get rid of first the smallest. I'm going to attack the smallest deficit. And in this particular case, the smallest deficit to get rid of, to bring it to zero, like everything else I want to be zero, is this $1.20. So I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna make some moves. There's 19 cents here. I'm gonna push F2 on my keyboard, minus shift parentheses open an adjustment, 0.19, shift parentheses close the adjustment. And then I'm gonna go down here and I'm gonna put that, I'm gonna apply it. I'm gonna say F2 plus shift parentheses open adjustment, 0.19, shift parentheses close adjustment. Why did I do it like that? Why didn't I just do it just 19 cents and without the parentheses? I did it like that so if I'm ever a certain amount, in this particular case, 19 cents, if I'm ever unbalanced down here, if I am ever in a situation where I'm unbalanced and it's some odd amount, like an adjustment amount like the 19 cents we just did, it makes it easier to find because I can search through all of these cells one by one and look up here in the formula bar and look for the amount that I'm off. That's why I don't use minus plus one cell minus another cell. I don't do all of that because it makes it easier when it's time to reconcile. You don't have to go looking for cells, you can go looking for numbers. Let's keep going and it'll explain itself. Here's 29 cents left over from house needs expenses. I'm going to go up here, minus shift open adjustment, 0.29, shift close adjustment, parentheses. Now that turns to zero, and now I'm going to apply that 29 cents to this deficit of $1.01. I'm going to push F2 plus shift parentheses open adjustment, 0.29, shift parentheses close adjustment, enter. Now I only got 72 cents. It was a dollar something. Now it's 72 cents. What else is a little straggler? Water bill's going to get paid soon. Groceries, I'm going to use that. Security. So I know that the security bill, from looking over here in my money, that bill is just an approval right now of 56.26. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say, okay, well, once that bill gets paid minus 56.26, I'm not posting it. I'm just looking for the difference. The difference is gonna be 74 cents. So now that I know that, what I can do is I can back that out and I'm gonna open an adjustment. 0.74, close the adjustment. Now that when that 56.26 turns from an approval to an actual deduction from my money, and I can deduct it from there and it's going to go to zero. But for right now, I got 74 cents that I can apply to this 72 cents. And I only need 72, but I'll put the whole 74 there. It's all good. All right, so this is going to be plus shift open parentheses adjustment, 0.74, shift close parentheses adjustment, enter, bam. It leaves 2 cents left over. All right. Now, I got 2 cents left over. And what is the next smallest deficit? It's entertainment. I like my numbers to be zero at the end of the month. So I'm going to take this 2 cent, even though it's just 2 cents. I don't care. I'm still going to get rid of it. I don't want any straggler amounts. All right. So I'm going to say minus shift parentheses open adjustment, 0.02, shift close close adjustment, bam. Get that 2 cents and I'm gonna put it, my 2 cents plus 0.02, close adjustment, bam, right there. All right. Now Back to the big picture. $324.04. It is what it is. I got this contingency money. Where is that? Where is it? It's $209. This in the middle here. I said, okay, for this month, I'm going to dedicate $209 of this amount of the total amount of the income I'm getting for this month. I'm going to I'm going to assign it towards contingency, just in case something happens. Well, something did happen. I went on a self-care uh spree, so to speak. Y'all went on this self-care spree. So what I'm gonna do is, look, I can take this 209 and I can put it towards this entertainment, because again, I don't want anything to be left over as any type of amount. I'm not getting any money for entertainment next week. I don't have any money set aside for entertainment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attack the smallest deficit. I could attack the I could attack the self-care account with this 209, but I'm not going to do that. And this is why. Let me show you. 117.15, right? 117.15. I can go here and make an adjustment. Minus shift open adjustment parentheses 117.0 0.15 shift close adjustment. Now I got $117.15 to spend. I'm gonna spend it right here. This is a choice I'm making. Plus shift 117.15 shift close adjustment. All right. Now it's at zero. Now I don't have an entertainment deficit. See? No entertainment deficit. So I don't have to worry about the income not being there next week because I don't have a deficit. As long as I don't go out again and partaking in any entertainment, but I know I will. I might go to, to watch a game, or do something. But if I do, hey, I know that because I make money management moves and I'm in control and I'm looking at this stuff every day, that stuff's covered. Plus, look, I still got $1,800 to spend on auto fund. So not only do I have, let's see, what's left in contingency? 91.85, no problem. I'm gonna take it out. I'm gonna take that too. Minus shift open adjustment 91.85 shift parentheses close adjustment. I'm gonna take that. It goes to zero. It went to zero. See, I took that 91.85. Now I got 91.85 positive amount left over to spend. And where do you think I'm gonna put it? Right in that self-care, right? So plus shift parentheses open adjustment 91.85 shift parentheses close adjustment, enter. Now I only got $232.19 to worry about. Now, what have I done? I've lessened the burden that I'm going to have to put on my auto fund. That auto fund, it's for a specific purpose, just like groceries are are for a specific purpose. The water bill is an expense. That this money, all of this money for these expenses are for specific purposes, except for the contingency fund. It's just to kind of cover. And that's what it did. It covered. So now instead of putting a big burden of that $300 amount on the auto fund, I could only put a $232.19 burden on it. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go up here, minus shift parentheses 232.19 shift parentheses close adjustment. Now I got $232.19 available to cover this deficit. And that's what's about to happen and is, plus shift parentheses open adjustment 232.19 shift parentheses close adjustment. Listen, I understand that this is a lot. I completely understand. I understand. But this is what puts me in a situation to control my money, to be completely in the know. In the know. So yes, I wanted to have some pleasantries. Yes, I did not have to practice delayed gratification this time. And because I didn't, I knew how to handle it. And because I knew how to handle it, it put me in a better power position here. So now look, now the self-care is now covered. All right, everything's pretty much covered, and I'm back in a situation where now I can still apply money. I can still get like some auto fund accessories, or to save up for a new car or whatever I want to do. And that was the gist of me explaining all of this. Self care. To self care or not to self care? And the answer is yes, when you know how to make proper money moves. If this video has been a blessing to you, or if you know somebody else that may benefit from this video, by all means, share it with them. Until next time, this has been Mike's Money Moves. Thank you for watching.